Disrespect doesn't usually kick the door in, it slips under it. It's the smirk that lingers a beat too long. The joke that needs a relax, I'm kidding. The interruption that pretends to be enthusiasm but cuts you off mid-sentence. Most people shrug it off once, then twice, and by the third time, the pattern is set. That's how you get trained into silence. Machiavelli would tell you straight. Respect isn't earned by hoping people see your value. Respect is enforced by making sure they feel the cost of ignoring it. Here's the harsh translation. When someone disrespects you, they're not just poking your feelings, they're gauging your power. They're asking, is there any price for crossing this person? If your answer is a nervous laugh, an over-explanation, or a quick pivot to keep the peace, you've already replied, no, there isn't. Good people get walked on not because they're weak, but because they misunderstand the game. They confuse being nice with being safe. In competitive environments, work, relationships, social circles, nice without edges reads as prey. And predators don't debate ethics. They test boundaries. So today, we flip the frame. This is not about tantrums or proving you're tough. This is cold, controlled dominance, the kind that makes people think twice before they even consider trying you. You're going to learn the psychology behind subtle disrespect, how to read it as intelligence, and the first of 5 tactical responses that recalibrate any room you walk into. By the end of this series, you won't be the person pleading to be treated right. You'll be the person whose presence makes disrespect feel like a bad investment. Start by recognizing the pattern. Smart disrespect doesn't arrive in all caps. It arrives as plausible deniability. Teasing that nudges at your appearance or decisions. A tone that trivializes your point, the accidental exclusion from a meeting or group chat. Each micro move is small enough that calling it out can make you look sensitive, so you let it slide. The mistake isn't missing the first jab. It's teaching them that jabs are safe with you. Thousands of tiny moments build the unspoken hierarchy in every relationship. That hierarchy is either negotiated by your standards or negotiated for you by their habits. Checkers versus chess. Checkers reacts to the last move. They made a crack. I'll clap back. Chess designs the next 5 moves. If I respond this way now, what precedent does that set for the next time and for the people watching? Don't worry, you don't need to become theatrical. The most effective upgrades are quiet and consistent. Which brings us to your first ruthless tool. Tactic 1. Strategic silence. There's weak silence and there's strategic silence. Weak silence is fear. You clam up because you're rattled, and everyone can feel it. Strategic silence is a deliberate withholding. It says, I heard you. Now I'm deciding what you're worth. One creates open season. The other creates uncertainty. How it works. Someone drops a disrespectful remark. The reflex is to explain, defend, or sling a comeback. Don't stop talking. Meet their eyes. Let the room feel the pause. Hold a neutral face like you just pressed freeze frame on the moment. For most people, silence is painful. They rush to fill it with excuses, backpedaling, or nervous humor. That's not an accident. It's the brain's discomfort with dangling social threads. Your silence turns their joke into a confession hanging in air. If you do speak, cut like a scalpel, not a sword. Did you mean to say it that way? Want to repeat that? Would you like to clarify before I respond? You're not arguing. You're inviting them to double down on record. 9 out of 10 won't. They expected your emotions, not their exposure. Picture this. You're in a group chat or meeting. Someone aims a playful dig. Instead of laughing along, you look at them and say nothing. The laughter wilts. The room recalibrates. The signal is simple. Your attention is not guaranteed, and your approval is not the prize on offer. Your stillness becomes the center of gravity. Key details that make this land. Face, neutral, not offended, not amused, opaque. Eyes, steady, not locked in a stare down. You're observing, not sparring. Timing, let the silence stretch past their comfort, not yours. Breath, slow. Your body sells the message before your mouth ever will. And then, this is crucial. Don't rescue the moment. Don't soften the edges with a chuckle to appear easygoing. Do not add, "I know you didn't mean it." That trains them that disrespect ends with your reassurance. You want the opposite. Disrespect ends with their doubt. Why it works. People fear what they can't map. When they can't read you, they can't predict costs. The unpredictable is dangerous, not because you're violent, but because you're not programmable. In a world addicted to instant replies and constant noise, the person who can hold stillness owns the tempo. Silence is not absence, it's control. Practice reps. Start small. The next time someone interrupts, stop talking. Completely. Look at them. Wait. Then continue at your pace. The next time a joke cuts your way, give them the freeze frame. Then move the conversation elsewhere, as if their comment didn't qualify for your energy. You're not avoiding conflict, you're refusing to feed it. Lock it in with this line in your notes. My silence is a decision, not a deficit. Drop this in your comments to install the mindset. My silence speaks volumes. A single strong moment can shift a room, but a reputation is built by repetition. Most people think boundaries are an announcement. Say it once and done. In reality, boundaries are a system. A system only works if it runs every time. Think of water finding cracks in a dam. If your standards have even one sometimes, pressure will find it, widen it, and normalize it. That's why inconsistent people end up exhausted. They're constantly relitigating lines that should have been settled by how they behave, not what they say. Consistency is not about being harsh. It's about being reliable. Powerful people are predictable in the best way. Everyone knows what happens when the line is crossed. That predictability creates caution, and caution looks like respect. You're not trying to make people afraid of you. You're designing a world where testing you is boring, unrewarding, and expensive. Here's how to install relentless consistency in daily life without turning into a hall monitor. Define one non-negotiable, then enforce it every time. Start with a single behavior you will never overlook again. Interruptions, lateness, jokes at your expense, unsolicited advice. Whatever is most common in your world, pick one and make it your training ground. Every time it appears, you run the same response. Calm, clean, and fast. Interruptions. Stop speaking mid-word. Turn your head. Wait. When they stop, continue exactly where you left off. No apology, no edge, no, as I was saying, just resume. The lack of drama makes the lesson stick. Lateness. Set a cutoff. If you're not here by 10, I'll start without you. Then do it. No recap, no summary. The cost of missing you is missing you. Cutting jokes, neutral face, pause. Then proceed with the main thread as if the joke never met the standard for engagement. No smiles as a peace offering. The tactic is simple. The power is in never deviating. Humans test. If you bend once, you've taught them to keep trying. Build microscripts. You can repeat. Consistency fails when you improvise from emotion. Preload a few lines that cover 90% of scenarios and deliver them in the same tone every time, measured and low. Hold on. I'm finishing. Not available for that. That won't work for me. We'll keep it on topic. Let's move forward. These microscripts are friction reducers. They redirect without inviting debate. Say less than you think. Let your behavior carry the rest. A boundary explained is a boundary negotiated. Separate people from patterns. Inconsistency often comes from favoritism. We let close friends, attractive partners, or high-status coworkers bend rules we'd enforce on others. That's how your standards die. Make a rule. The closer someone is to you, the clearer your enforcement should be, because proximity grants access, and access without standards breeds contempt. Ask yourself 2 questions. 1. If a stranger did this, how would I respond? 2. If I respond differently to this person, what am I afraid of losing? If the answer is approval, attention, or peace, you're paying for those with self-respect. That bill always comes due. Keep the temperature low. Consistency does not mean constant confrontation. You're not escalating, you're standardizing. Your face stays neutral, your tone even, your words few. Think courtroom, not cage match. The person across from you will try to drag you into explanations or emotion. Refuse the invitation. High emotion looks like instability, and instability makes your standards look negotiable. Calm is credibility. Make consequence automatic, not personal. When a line is crossed, the response should feel like a policy, not a punishment. Imagine a train schedule. It doesn't hate you if you miss it. It simply leaves. Design your consequences so they run on time. Access. Reduce the channel, not the drama. Fewer texts, fewer calls. Longer reply windows. Information. Stop sharing personal updates with people who mock or minimize them. Involvement. Exclude chronic latecomers from time-sensitive plans. When they ask, why? Answer plainly. Punctuality matters for this. No courtroom speech. The train already left. Track the pattern, not the episode. Disrespect is rarely a single earthquake. It's tremors. Don't get hung up on whether one incident wasn't a big deal. Ask, is this part of a pattern? If yes, standard response. Patterns don't require proof beyond repeated experience. Your nervous system will try to bargain. They didn't mean it. They were stressed. It's complicated. Complexity is the camouflage of boundary erosion. Simplicity is your shield. Install a personal always-never list. Write 3 lines you always do and 3 you never do. Keep it short. Always. Always finish my sentence. Always protect my time blocks. Always respond once, then act. Never explain a boundary twice. Never reward lateness with recaps. Never laugh at disrespect. Review it weekly. Repetition makes it identity level. This is who I am, not this is what I'm trying. Expect pushback. It's proof you're changing. When you become consistent, people who benefited from your old softness will protest. They'll label you cold, difficult, arrogant. Translation. Your new policy makes my old behavior expensive. Stay steady. High-quality people adjust. Low-quality people exit. Either outcome improves your environment. The reputation effect. Run this playbook for 30 days and watch what shifts. You'll notice fewer accidental slights. You'll notice quieter rooms after a pause. You'll notice invitations phrased with more care. That's the market reacting to price signals. Your consistency has set the rate for your attention, and people are recalculating whether they can afford to waste it. Lock it in with this reminder. My standards never bend. A funny thing happens when you enforce boundaries. At first, people are surprised. Then, they test. That's human nature. But here's where most people lose their edge. They respond to disrespect in equal measure. Someone cracks a joke at their expense, so they crack one back. Someone shows up late, so they tease them about it. Someone interrupts, so they push harder to get a word in. All of that is forgettable. Equal responses get filed under normal conflict, and normal conflict teaches nothing. Machiavelli understood something different. If you want lasting respect, your responses must carry more weight than the offense. That doesn't mean rage or violence. It means memorable consequences. A disproportionate response doesn't scream louder. It cuts deeper, lasts longer, and creates a mental association they don't want to repeat. Think of it this way. If disrespect costs them nothing, they'll keep spending it. If it costs them more than they bargained for, they stop shopping. The psychology behind it. Humans remember sharp contrasts. Ordinary back and forth fades. But if their small dig gets met with cold distance that lasts for days, the mind locks onto it. If their harmless lateness means missing out on opportunities with you, that stings. Disproportion builds an imprint. It transforms the act of disrespect into a memory that whispers, "Don't do that again." Machiavelli once wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved," if you cannot be both. Fear, in this case, is not about intimidation. It's about certainty. They know you will respond in a way that makes them regret their choice. That's enough to prevent repeats. How disproportion looks in practice. The cutting remark. Someone mocks you in front of a group. The usual play is to laugh it off or clap back. The disproportionate play. Neutral face. Silence. Maybe a single line. "That wasn't funny." Then you shut them out of the rest of the conversation, treating their presence as invisible. The group feels the ice. The offender feels the exile. That one moment becomes a story they replay long after. The chronic lateness. A friend is always late. You don't complain, don't nag, don't guilt trip. You simply start planning without them. The next time they text, "On my way," you reply, "No need, we already started." No anger, just exclusion. Suddenly, their lateness costs them access. The dismissive attitude. A coworker keeps brushing off your ideas. Instead of defending yourself, you stop bringing them input altogether. When projects move forward without your contribution, they notice. The unspoken message, "Your dismissiveness bought you distance." The overstepping family member. They criticize your choices endlessly. Instead of fighting back, you start reducing time spent with them. You're harder to reach. You decline invitations. They eventually realize that criticism isn't free. It costs them access to you. Rules of disproportion. 1. Cold over hot explosive. Anger makes you look unstable. Disproportion works only when it's delivered with surgical calm. Anger is predictable. Cold withdrawal is unsettling. 2. Lasting over loud. A snappy comeback feels good in the moment, but is forgotten tomorrow. A change in how you treat them. A sudden absence of warmth, access, or information lingers. 3. Specific over general. Don't punish the entire relationship for one slip. Target the consequence at the specific disrespect. That precision teaches the lesson clearly. This behavior equals this cost. Unannounced. Over-explained never explain your disproportion. Don't say, "I'm ignoring you because you were late." The silence is the sting. Explanations invite negotiation. Let them do the math. Examples of heavy for light. They roll their eyes once. You stop sharing personal thoughts with them entirely. They dismiss your success casually. You stop inviting them to celebrate milestones. They belittle you in conversation. You go quiet, withdraw attention, and leave them carrying dead air. They fail to respect your time. You stop prioritizing theirs without saying a word. Each consequence outweighs the offense, but in a way that is hard to miss and harder to forget. Why this works. Most disrespectful people thrive on predictable patterns. You either absorb their jabs, making you easy, or you explode, making them look calm by comparison. A cold, disproportionate response scrambles their strategy. They can't predict you. They can't argue with you. They can't dismiss the weight of your silence or absence. The beauty here is simplicity. You're not seeking revenge. You're teaching cost. And the human brain remembers cost better than anything else. Boundaries matter. Responses matter. But here's the truth. The most powerful people don't need to constantly enforce their standards. Their very presence does the heavy lifting. Before they open their mouths, before anyone tests them, something about their aura warns, this will cost you. That's the dark image. A reputation of cold precision and untouchable worth that makes people self-regulate around you. Machiavelli knew this well. He wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. What you appear to be is the armor. The real you stays protected beneath it. Why your image matters more than your words." People are sizing you up in milliseconds. They notice your walk, your tone, your body language, your reactions under pressure. Most never admit it, but respect is given before you even speak, based on whether you project control or neediness. Someone with a strong, dark image doesn't have to demand respect. They command it by signaling that they have. Nothing to prove, nothing to beg for, nothing to lose. That kind of presence makes others cautious, and cautious people are respectful people. The building blocks of a dark image. 1. Controlled energy. Don't swing wildly between highs and lows. Consistency in energy communicates stability. If one day you're overexcited and the next you're withdrawn, people can't trust what version of you they'll get. Stability signals power. Chaos signals weakness. 2. Selective warmth. Not everyone gets your smile. Not everyone gets your attention. Not everyone gets access. When you're selective, people treat your attention as valuable. When you give it away cheaply, they treat it like it costs nothing. 3. Measured speech. Speak slowly, deliberately, never rushed. The loudest people are often the least respected. The calmest people often hold the room. Cut filler words. Pause often. Let silence do half the talking. 4. Composure under fire. How you handle disrespect in public builds your reputation more than anything else. If you erupt, you look fragile. If you laugh it off nervously, you look weak. If you respond with cold, surgical precision, neutral face, sharp boundary, then silence, you look untouchable. 5. Unshakable standards. Every time you enforce a boundary, even in small ways, you reinforce the image. Every time you let something slide, you chip at it. Image is repetition. People remember patterns, not isolated moments. Practical ways to build your image: stop chasing. If someone ignores your message, don't follow up. If someone cancels on you, don't scramble to reschedule. Your time is valuable. Act like it. Cut over explaining. State your boundary once. That doesn't work for me. No defense, no negotiation. The more words you add, the weaker the message. Never laugh at disrespect. Even a chuckle to keep the peace kills your image. Treat every violation with neutrality, not nervous humor. Stay, even in praise or criticism. Don't overreact to compliments or attacks. Both should land the same, noted, absorbed, not controlling you. That steadiness makes people second-guess testing you. The reputation effect. Do this long enough, and your reputation will precede you. When your name comes up in rooms you're not in, the consensus should be, don't play with them. They don't tolerate nonsense. That's the point where people start censoring their own disrespect before it ever reaches you. And here's the paradox. While some will call you cold or intimidating, the right people will find your presence magnetic. Why? Because self-respect is attractive. High-value individuals prefer to deal with people who have standards. They know where they stand. They know the rules. And they trust you more because of it. Low-value people, manipulators, bullies, parasites, will fall away. They need soft targets. Your dark image makes you unprofitable to them. Real-world signals. Here's what building this aura looks like in the wild. You walk into a meeting and don't rush to fill silence. People lean in. Someone makes a disrespectful comment. And instead of reacting, you cut eye contact and move on. The conversation reshapes itself. Friends who used to tease you think twice before trying again. They don't know why it feels different, but they feel it. Strangers treat you with more deference without you asking for it. That's reputation at work. The untouchable frame. Frame it this way. You are the mountain. People can climb, admire, or walk away, but the mountain never moves. You set the weather. You decide what's allowed at your altitude. That frame shifts every interaction. Say it now and lock it in. My presence commands respect. Up to now, we've looked at how to respond. Silence, consistency, disproportion, and image. But here's the highest level where you stop seeing disrespect as an insult and start seeing it as intelligence. Machiavelli wrote, "Keep your friends close and your enemies closer." But first, you must identify who your enemies are. Disrespect is the revelation. It's the mask slipping. It's people telling you what they really think before you trust them with more than they deserve. The psychology behind disrespect. Most disrespect isn't about you. It's about them. It's insecurity, dominance, envy, or habit. People put others down to feel taller, interrupt to signal superiority, dismiss to test hierarchy. If you take it personally, you get emotional. If you take it as data, you get strategic. That's the shift. Insecurity. They cut you down when you succeed. They're revealing their envy. Dominance. They interrupt or belittle you to place themselves above you. That tells you where they think the hierarchy is. Fear. They discourage your moves, hoping you'll stay small so they don't feel threatened. Habit. They've trained themselves to disrespect easy targets. If you tolerate it, they'll file you as safe prey. Here's the twist. Most people who dish it out can't take it back. They thrive on predictable victims. But when you respond with silence, cold consequences, and consistent standards, you break their playbook. Suddenly, they're the ones uncomfortable, using disrespect as a filter. Think of every act of disrespect as an array into character. Who you are dealing with becomes clear. The coworker interrupts you, but never the boss. That reveals hierarchy games. Not a partner, not an ally. The friend jokes about your appearance or achievements, but never at others. That's resentment. Don't celebrate wins with them. The family member criticizes your choices, but praises the same choices in others. That's jealousy and favoritism. Their advice is worthless. The acquaintance treats you differently when you're up versus when you're down. That means they respect the position, not you. Dangerous in hard times. By logging these patterns, you know who to trust, who to distance, and who to keep close only as a watch item. Why this is liberating. Instead of thinking, how dare they? You start thinking, "Thank you for showing me early." Every slight becomes a warning system. Every sarcastic remark becomes proof of hidden envy. Every interruption becomes a red flag. You're no longer a victim of poor treatment. You're the collector of intelligence. Machiavelli's core insight was that human nature is predictable once you know what to look for. People who disrespect in small ways will disrespect in bigger ways if unchecked. Those who ignore minor boundaries will trample major ones when it benefits them. Spotting it early lets you act before the damage. The emotional armor. This mindset also makes you bulletproof. When you know disrespect reveals more about them than you, your emotions cool. Instead of reacting, you observe. Instead of defending, you record. Instead of pleading, you filter. That keeps you calm and untouchable. And here's the paradox. People end up respecting you more. Why? Because you no longer chase their approval. You don't flinch. You don't beg. You simply enforce standards and take notes. That stability is magnetic. Quality people lean toward it. Low quality people run from it. The long-term payoff over time, something remarkable happens. The low-value crowd drifts away because you're no longer easy to use. The high-value crowd draws nearer because your self-respect signals safety and strength. Your professional life improves. Colleagues treat you as someone not to be trifled with. Your personal life improves. Friends and partners see that being close to you requires respect. Respect stops being something you demand. It becomes the natural condition of being in your orbit. The reputation economy. Every boundary enforced, every silence held, every consequence delivered, is a deposit into the bank of your reputation, and reputation pays compounding interest. Soon, you'll find people speaking about you in rooms you've never entered. They don't play games. They're solid. Don't try that with them. That's when you've moved from individual defenses to systemic power. You've become someone who doesn't have to explain their standards because everyone already knows. Your final lock-in disrespect is not a wound. It's a warning. It's not a personal attack. It's a personality reveal. Use it, filter with it, build with it, and never forget, the person who masters how they handle disrespect doesn't just protect their dignity, they elevate their entire life. Say it now and lock it in. Disrespect reveals truth. You now have the 5 darkest, most effective ways to handle disrespect. 1. Strategic silence. Control the tempo. 2. Relentless consistency. No cracks in the wall. 3. Disproportionate response. Make every slight costly. 4. Crafting the dark image. Project untouchable presence. 5. Higher Machiavellian strategy. Treat disrespect as intelligence, not insult. Live by these, and you won't need to chase respect. It will follow you, always.